like to wish everybody a happy new year, but also I think it's extremely important that it recognize the date that is coming tomorrow, and that's January 7th. In doing so, I think it's important to speak directly to the people of Los Angeles about the Palisades and the Lockman fires, what these incidents revealed, and what the department must do better. The concrete actions we've already taken to strengthen how we protect our communities. I want to begin by saying this clearly. Last January, our firefighters performed with courage, professionalism, and commitment under extraordinary, dangerous conditions. They did their jobs, often at great personal risk, and they did not fail this city. At the same time, there were clearly significant shortcomings in our response as a department. And as the newly appointed fire chief, the responsibility for how this department prepares, deploys, and adapts for the future rests with me. We cannot continue to rely on a system that is stretched thin on its best day and overwhelmed on its worst. There has been a lot of recent coverage about the response to the Lockman fire, and I want to address it directly today. At the time fire companies were directed to pick up hose, the department genuinely believed the fire was fully extinguished. That was based on the information, conditions, and procedures in place at that moment. That belief guided the operational decision-making that was made. However, the outcome has made it incredibly clear that our mop-up and verification process needed to be stronger. We have to own that, and I do. As a result, we've already changed our mop-up procedures, and we've formally incorporated the use of drone technology to enhance post-suppression verification, situational awareness, and detection of residual heat. These changes are now in place to help ensure that this will never happen again. Please understand the Palisades and Lockman fires were defining moments for this department. They unfortunately exposed real limitations in system capacity during periods of extreme demand, including challenges related to staffing availability, resource placement, and the speed at which conditions can change during wind-driven fire events. Some resources were delayed. Some response times were longer than we strive for. Our surge capacity was overstretched. These are difficult realities, but acknowledging them is essential to improving how we operate. To be very clear, these challenges were not the result of failures by our firefighters that were on the line. They reflect leadership decisions, legacy systems, and long-standing structural constraints that must evolve to meet today's risk environment. Following these incidents, the LAFD conducted a comprehensive review and committed to specific measurable improvements. As many of you are aware, it is now clear that multiple drafts were edited to soften language and reduce explicit criticism of department leadership in that final report. This editing occurred prior to my appointment as fire chief, and I can assure you that nothing of this sort will ever again happen while I am fire chief. As of today, approximately 74% of those recommended actions have already been completed. Among the most important changes are the following: updated mop-up and post-suppression verification procedures, including the use of drone technology and thermal imaging. Revised incident weather decision-making matrices, allowing us to better anticipate fire behavior and deploy resources earlier and more strategically. Strengthened pre-deployment and recall procedures during high-risk weather. Dispatch and communications upgrades to ensure appropriate resources are sent automatically during red flag conditions. Improved evacuation coordination and training with our law enforcement partners and emergency management partners. Expanded training focused on wildland-urban interface operations and firefighter safety. These are not future plans. They are already operational today. But accountability also means outside review. We cannot leave any stone unturned, and I am determined that we look at any and every issue to make sure that the right lessons are learned and the proper steps are taken to make sure everything that needs to be improved is improved. That is why I formally asked the Fire Safety Research Institute to include the Lockman Fire as part of their broader independent analysis of the January fires so it can be evaluated alongside the other significant incidents from that period. In addition, I've directed a separate independent investigation into the Lockman Fire to closely examine our decisions, our procedures, and where improvements are needed. That review is about learning. It's not about assigning blame and ensuring our policies, our practices reflect the realities of modern fire behavior. The remaining 26% of the improvements involve long-term work, including additional fire weather monitoring and predictive intelligence, expanded evacuation infrastructure and community notification capabilities, continued refinement of deployment models, and incident management systems. These efforts require coordination, funding, and time. Yet they are all actively underway. The people of Los Angeles deserve honesty, accountability, and a fire department that learns from every incident. We acknowledge where we must do better. We take responsibility for making these improvements, and I am fully committed to ensuring the lessons from the Palisades and Lockman fires result in meaningful, lasting change. I want to thank our firefighters, all of our mutual aid partners, our support personnel for their extraordinary work, and to the residents of Los Angeles, especially those who were directly impacted by these fires. I want you to know that earning and maintaining your trust is my highest priority. Thank you. I want to thank the media for being here, and out of respect to those families who were impacted by this, this isn't about me. It's not about the LAFD. It's about them. So I've asked that we not do interviews. Our follow-up interviews will be open on Monday and Tuesday. I have personnel here to schedule those interviews, and they're open to anyone who'd like to have an interview with me. Our staff will remain after to be able to schedule those interviews. And I thank you for being here. I thank all of you for your time. And please don't forget the events that happened 1 year ago tomorrow.